Now, I'm not sure if our signal's going to hold here. I hope it is. It held with Sam in this car yesterday, but let's see. Ah, Sam has another sunrise to show you.
I cannot get enough of the sunrise this morning. As we drive into Cheetah Plains, we have this most magnificent look of the clouds and the sun and the tree. It just looks so glorious. What an incredible thing that I get to show people that both the sunset and the sunrise every day. It's incredible, look at that. So, definitely well worth a look at that. Take it in. That's your morning out here in the bush with that sun behind those clouds. I literally can't stop staring at it, but it's time to go and look for cubs. So, we're going to carry on moving. So, just to talk quickly a little about around the subject of Cape Town. So I don't want you all to get the perception that Cape Town is in a dwell. Dwell means very calm and relaxed, which it is, you know. And I'm quite glad that we are very relaxed people, you know. People from Joburg, where James is from, they don't have an ocean, they don't have a mountain. They've just so. Oh. So
we're still having our little boat trip, everybody. On the dashboard, the pods of Combretum herreroense, the russet willow. And apparently you can make tea out of it. This is what I told guests for many, many game drives until one of them said to me, well, why don't we have some? So I sort of looked askance at them and said, okay. And at the next stop, we opened out the hot water flask and made some tea out of Combretum herreroense. It was disgusting. I've never had it again. I wouldn't recommend having tea from Combretum herreroense. I think there are probably many other things out here that make much better tea. Certainly coloured the water like tea, though. What do you think, Brian?
I think we could make some tea.
You can suck one. See what it tastes like. Leopard calf, where are you, little bunnies of joy? Other side.
So we are now within the boundaries of Cheetah Plains. Exciting, it's only the second time that have taken all of us into this land. First time we saw a greater spotted owl and a beautiful young female leopard, which is great. Such a different landscape here. We're going to turn left down here, see what happens. Kyle wants to know if we can see some hyenas on Cheetah Plains. You know, Kyle, I'm not sure if there's a den here. I know that we have obviously a den on our property. I haven't seen one or heard of a den here yet. So Kyle, as soon as we find a hyena, we might be able to follow it back to its den site. But I don't think the habitat is as perfect as it is for Juma to have a den site. For the hyenas, there's lots of open area here without these large termite mounds, which hyenas like to stay in. So Kyle, we're going to do our very best this morning to see if we can find one. Who knows what's out there? We don't know yet. We could bump into anything. Hopefully an ostrich or a cheetah, because those are the two animals I haven't seen since I've been here. So, he who must be named says that we should go left. Monkey Man's asking if I was able to see one of the pink spoonbills or the storks when I was in Brazil. Yes, I saw many, many different birds, to be honest, but I didn't know what they were. Monkey Man, I wasn't sure what. So we've just come to what looks like a kraal. This is obviously where they come and eat at Cheetah Plains. So that was interesting. This is where the humans come and eat. It's not a hyena den. But I did see many, many different. Louise just informed me that there was a Christmas party had in that little area last year. That's cool. But no, Monkey Man, I saw so many different birds. I didn't know what they were or what exactly they were, but they were definitely a few birds that looked like storks. Okay, let's go right. I'm trying to think if we just came from here. You must be named. Took us to a place where we eat. Come on, can't go there. Very, very, very different setting here. We've got a few termite mounds, not many. So that just gives us the possibility of seeing a hyena that much more. Here's some of these termite mounds that are around us. But Monkey Man, we saw so many different birds in Pantanal. The Pantanal was where we saw so many. Leopard's asking, how large is Cheetah Plains? From my understanding, Cheetah Plains is a little bit smaller than what we have at Juma. So Juma is about 1,100 hectares, and Airstrip is just a bit smaller than that. And Cheetah Plains is a bit smaller than that. So I think it's around 500, 600 hectares. So it's a bit smaller, but it is, in terms of having landscape, to have the cheetah and the ostrich prime. So it just makes our game drives that much more holistic in the sense that we have different types of habitats. And different habitats will serve for different ecological niches, which allow us to see white-tailed mongoose, slender mongoose. So, main man James is in the Mawati. I think he's tracking Karula and her cubs. Hopefully he gets to see them, and we will spot you just now, hopefully with an ostrich.
We had the most amazing shot there, everybody, of this monarch butterfly flying next to the vehicle, and Bryan managed to get it full frame and was tracking it beautifully. That was very pretty. Well done, Bryan.
Thank you, Jim.
But then it flew behind a bush as you came to us. Sorry about that. Right, we've driven the length of the Mawati drainage, and we have yet to find any sign of Karula and cups. So we'll just keep going. Oh, Bryan, there's another meeting track. No, don't worry, it's stopped. Don't want everyone to get seasick at this early stage of the morning. So we're now at the southern end of the Juma Reserve. Haven't found any tracks going hither and yon this way. We'll do a little turn through Leadwood Road, and then we'll see what else we can find. She could easily have moved them during the night. Oh, look at this. Have a look at Bryan's incredible skills in super slow-mo. How cool was that? It's not all about the big things, you know. It's not all about the big hairy things with the claws and the teeth and the horns. Right, we're now on the very southern boundary. Hello, Impala. Why have you not sacrificed yourself for the leopard and her cubs? Don't walk behind that tree in ashamedness. Just having a listen again. I don't hear anything. Let's keep going. Now, I did say to you it was, I think the temperature this morning was 19 degrees Celsius, which was 65 Fahrenheit. No, that's wrong. No, it's not right. It's about right. And so, although I'm wearing a woolly hat upon my head, it really is not cold at all. It's very pleasant. Nice and fresh this morning. It was not fresh last night. It was very dusty and horrid. And we are going to drive at this rather sedate pace, of course, because we don't want to miss any tracks going to and from. Erin and Angela, while I stare at the ground, just in case those little leopards have moved, you say that you have turtles and tortoises in California, and exactly as I suspected, a tortoise lives on land and a turtle lives in the water. That's what I thought. Thank you for that. Right. Okay, thank you very much. So, a lovely comment from Safari Hayes here, saying that yes, tortoises occur, but not very commonly. Much more common would be something akin to what we call a terrapin, which would be a sort of freshwater dwelling chelonid or shelled reptile. And you don't use the term terrapin often, you often use the term turtle for those terrapins. Okay, that does actually clear it up completely. Thank you very much for that, Safari Hayes. Why, Wendy? Come on, don't be a nasty bat. Charlotte, you want to know how old these leopards will be when they leave their mother? The males, rather like human beings, like to stay at home a bit longer, although they make pretense at independence very early on. So they will leave home at about 2 to 2.5 years normally, sometimes a little bit earlier than that, sometimes about 18 months, but that's quite early. Then the females can go independent as early as 8 months. That's extremely unusual, though. So it would normally be between 14 and 18 months that the females would go independent. But can be up to 2 years. So it really is quite variable and probably quite dependent on what other leopards are around the place. So if there is a great concentration of leopards in a particular area, you'll find, I think, that the females will stay close to their mothers for longer, and if there's perhaps pressure from male leopards, young male leopards looking to set up territories, then I think you might find that the males will stay with their mothers for a bit longer than they might otherwise. No further evidence of Gorulski and her babies. Susan, nice question from you. You want to know if I've ever been on a horseback safari. I have. I've been on a few. There was an operation up where I used to work near Impala. They've moved since then, but they did a few horseback safaris and I went to help out once or twice. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it very much. I'm not convinced that this area is a particularly good area to do it. I mean, it's woodland largely, and I think if you have to take evasive action from something like an elephant, which you can do on a horse if the area is open, I think it's a bit dangerous through here, especially because you can't see any predators lying around the corner. I think your greatest danger on horseback is lions. And apparently I'm told that if you do encounter lions and the lions react, I mean, you've got to sort of steel yourself and get off the horse and face the lion on foot, because they don't see the horses obviously as threatening, but they certainly see the human being as threatening. So you've got to kind of get off the horse, which would be a little bit scary, I suppose, unless you knew what you were doing. But otherwise, horseback safaris, especially in Botswana, where it's nice and open, I think people have a wonderful time on horseback safaris. Leopold, a nice one about butterflies. You say that in America your butterfly populations are dying out because of pesticide use. And what's the status of butterflies here? I don't think. I mean, look, anywhere that you spray pesticides, you're going to have a real problem with naturally occurring insects, and probably bacteria and various other things that are crucial to the survival of an ecosystem. I don't think the use of pesticides is as widespread here as it is in the United States. I think the United States and possibly China, I would imagine, use far more in the way of pesticides than anywhere else in the world. So I think we're okay here. I certainly wouldn't for 1 second say, though, that in the farming belts of South Africa that there was a healthy population of invertebrate life. I'm sure in many areas they are pretty barren of that sort of thing. And I mean, I heard a horrible story the other day. We all know that bees are in trouble. But bees, of course, if bees are in trouble, we're in trouble. And there are vast swathes of China where there are fields of crops and there are people walking around those fields of crops with paintbrushes, taking the pollen off the plants and painting them onto the female sexual parts of the plants, whose name is stigma. They're painting the pollen onto the stigma of the female plants because there are no bees to do that job anymore. That's terrifying. So I think far more than butterflies, bees are a bit of an issue. There's one very famous butterfly in South Africa called the Brenton Blue, which comes from a place called, unsurprisingly, Brenton, down in the Western Cape, near Knysna, a very beautiful part of the country. And the Brenton Blue was threatened with extinction, and I think survived because a whole lot of community members got together and stopped the evil building developers from building what they were going to build. All right, let's go and get an update from Cheetah Plains. I'm going to drive a bit quicker to get around the side here and see if we can't pick up on some tracks in the leopard.
So we've just come through to the other side of Cheetah Plains. We're driving quite slowly. Dave thought he saw something running through the bush here. So we're just having a look to see if we can locate that running individual. I don't think he's there, hey Dave? We know that there's an elephant close by because we can see lots of tracks everywhere. So 2 tracks. So we're driving on a small. So we are driving on a 2 track small through this area. So we don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. I think Mr. Ellie's going to help us. He's just taking us, seeing what we can find. There really are some beautiful trees here on this property. Over here is a nice looking marula tree. That marula tree in that morning sun next to this termite mound, and have a look at those, the top of that grass there, feathered top chloris, just on the right here. You can see the sun that's just capturing that. Amazing. Truly love the mornings and the afternoons. That light is incredible. Okay, so we found another road. So we were trying to work out who Dave is from Lord of the Rings, and I think Dave is Aragorn.
I'll take that.
Yeah, so Aragorn, Dave the Aragorn behind the camera, and I am Samwise, and James is most definitely Frodo. So I know that everyone thought I said Smeagol the other day. That I thought that was a joke. I would never say that about my co-pilot. He's my brother in the fellowship. Smeagol's out to get us. But if he starts calling Cape Town, if he starts talking about Cape Town and being in a dwell, I might just have to call him that. Jokes. I never would. Smeagol's probably one of the gremlins that try and get onto our server when we're trying to go live. That's one of the gremlins. So as soon as we see problems, tech problems, think of Smeagol jumping into your screen. Not very nice. It's starting to open up, so we've just come through the thicket and we're coming into the opener areas. Ooh, we've just found some leopard tracks. Ooh, sorry about that sound. This not very nice. Ooh, sheepers. Sorry. Here we go. Have a look here.
You're not going to be able to see it.
Okay, cool. Let's get to a position where we can see them. Here we go. Well, that's very close. So there we go. So you can see that is a leopard track. Perfect. The 3 lobes at the back. So we are on the track for a leopard now. Let's go in this direction. That could very well be the female track of Nkanyeni that is around. Let's follow. How exciting, another leopard on Cheetah Plains. I know we wanted to see a cheetah. Just lost those tracks. Let's keep looking around. It's very well that this leopard is very close by. Tracks are very fresh. We've just lost tracks. Let's look around. Help us look, everyone. See if you can see anything moving around the bush. You might just see that white tipped tail of the leopard walking through the savannah, looking for something to eat, like a little steenbok. It's quite embarrassing. I think on live TV yesterday I said the steenbok love to be eaten. No, steenbok definitely don't love to be eaten. They just get eaten by leopards. I thought that was quite funny. So let's continue onto the plains now. We're on the plains. There we go. Nice big open areas that we're coming to. I just want to see if I can find any tracks here. I can let you know in what direction they are moving in. So we've got hyena tracks that are going this way. We've got some zebra tracks. But that leopard track seems to have just gone off the path. So my feeling is that we should go back down this road, see if we can find any more tracks of that leopard, and maybe we can locate it. But it's all in the direction to where we saw Nkanyeni for the first time. So let's go and have a look. missing. It's always fun tracking. When you find a leopard, it is the best feeling. Let's see if we can find one for you all this morning. Come on, Mr. Ellie, see if you can locate us a leopard. Could be anywhere around here. The tracks are very, very fresh. So at night time, leopards like to move through the bush and scent mark. And as we spoke about once before, they give quite a distinctive smell, like popcorn, when they do scent marking. So not only by listening and looking around, we can also smell to see if there's any scent marks that have been made. Tracks are heading this way. As you can see, we are coming up into the open areas. Anna Marie just made a note saying that doesn't Nkanyeni also have cubs? Yes, Nkanyeni also has cubs, and that's why we are going in this direction to see if we can locate on Nkanyeni again. But we're also going to go to that termite mound that we were at the other day, because that's like what we thought that could be a good spot where Nkanyeni could have left her cubs. So we're going to look around everywhere to see if we can find that leopard. I would love to see those cubs, Anna Marie. Would literally make my day. But I don't know if you guys have been with me on Cheetah Plains, but have a look at all the space that we now have. So the opportunity of seeing an ostrich, anything is much, much greater. It's so weird actually to have so much space out here. So I've just got a very good question from Rich around how much smaller is the Cape leopard to the Savannah leopard. Rich, the Cape leopard is almost half the size of a Savannah leopard. Purely because of the things that it has to eat. It doesn't have that much to eat out in the Cederberg Mountains, as well as all that dry land north of Cape Town. Its territories are much, much bigger than that.
Lion.
Where?
Good. You see just across the hold it there, Sammy.
Okay. What have you seen there? Well, oh, it's a cheetah! It's a cheetah! Well done, Aragorn! Hey, my boy! That's so epic. It's not on our property, so we're not able to see it from here. There's two of them. 1, 2. Well done. Let's just get to a position where we can view them a bit better. Oh, told you, when you come to Cheetah Plains, you may find a cheetah. Well spotted, Aragorn. See, it's good as you come into open areas. It's very useful to just open up your eyes and to see if anything is moving. If you have a look, so these apparently are two brothers within the dominant coalition on Cheetah Plains. They are moving at a rapid speed, so I'm going to pick up my pace. Please hold on to your seats. There they go.
Let me grab a shot.
Rich, the Cape leopard is half the size of the Savannah leopard, but I'd love to talk to you more about that leopard. I mean, it's fascinating to understand the territory of a Cape leopard compared to that of a Savannah. But let's take a moment and have a look at these cheetah that are walking through this. Oh, this is incredible. First time that I'm viewing cheetah. Very first time. And it's exciting. It wasn't just one, it was two. So you can quite clearly tell that they are cheetah. Have a look at the front of their faces. You can see that there's a stripe, two black strips that come down the front of their face. Clearly cheetah. You have much longer, much slender build, almost like a build made for a runner compared to that of a leopard. A leopard is a much stronger, thicker looking cat than the cheetah. Okay, let's carry on, see if we can see them. There they go. So we are literally just on our border with Nyala, so we cannot go any closer to the cheetah. We can only hope that they'll make their way towards us. There they go, they're starting to walk a little bit quicker. Dave, master spotter. Very stoked. It's so cool to watch them as they move through this open land. They are born for this land. So just while we were tracking a leopard, we come across two cheetah. Can you still see them? Yes, you can. We're going to start getting into an area where it's quite difficult to watch them. They're moving, they're very mobile. I'm just going to sit at that position, because as soon as we go any closer, we're going to be going into thick bush and not being able to see it. Taking these last moments of this cheetah as they go into the thick, into Nyala. We're going to see if we can go a little bit further, and hopefully they'll head north towards our boundary. But have a look at that build now. You can quite clearly see that slender build. Look like it just scent marked there. This one's, there we go, scent marking. You can clearly see that she's scent marking. Stopped. This is it's a he, it's a coalition. There they go. They are made for speed, these creatures. Where does he go? There he goes. Off into Nyala. Let's just watch them as they walk off. So they have, very similar sort of social structure. These cats, they like to, they have to scent mark and hold a territory. So these are a coalition of males that hold this property, much like, can you hear that? It sounds like they're communicating with one another. There was a very clear communication between the two brothers. There they go, I can see them. No, they're heading straight into Mala. So they're now heading south, away from Cheetah Plains' property, but we still have such a magnificent view of that cheetah. So it's not often we see cheetah, very rare actually. So I've been here for a month and this is the first sighting I've had of a cheetah. What is that sound? There's the other one, so the one's just to the right. So it is a contact call. There we go, you can just hear that contact call between the two brothers of the coalition. Can't see that one anymore. There he goes, he's starting to walk a lot quicker. Yeah, awesome. So their bodies, as I said earlier, are much slender and they are built for speed. So the way in which they run, their arms aren't like malleable, almost like a leopard. They have very straight arms, which give them the ability to push down and go that much quicker. Are they going up a termite mound there? What's he doing? Move a little bit forward. Would that make it easier there, Dave?
Yeah.
Right. It's incredible how this camera can get you right up with the animal. We are so far away from those cheetah. There's another one. There's the other one that's standing on that mound. You can see both of them now. So there's the one on the right, standing in that. And then contact calling each other. And there's the other one. So cool. So that could be the last time that we see him. So cheetah like to go into open areas and stand on termite mounds. So doing that gives them the opportunity to see everything that might be around them, whether it be a small antelope or a scrub hare. So vantage points make a big difference. There it goes, it's starting to move a lot quicker down there. It just seems like they're scent marking and moving around this. I think it was Natasha and David from Ontario are asking, how fast can a cheetah run? They can run 60 miles per hour, roughly. Very, very quick animals. So if you are driving on your freeway, wherever you are in the world, drive the speed limit, and that's pretty much like driving with a cheetah. Our speed limit in Southern Africa on a highway is 120 kilometers an hour, which is around 60 miles. Just, there they go. Running off into the distance. Look at them running. It's so cool to see them just almost like trot. The wind is blowing quite strong this morning, so that's going to make all the animals out here quite nervous. Are they going to pop out behind that quarry bush? They're getting very, very far away from us now. I don't know if we can see them anymore. I can't see them with my own eyes. Let me get my binoculars out. Oh, there they are. Sandy in Canada is asking, if a leopard and a cheetah were to meet each other, who would win the fight? Well, cheetah are the lowest ranked cats here out here in the bush, so a leopard is a bit stronger, more dominant than a cheetah. So leopards would most of the time chase a cheetah away from a kill or just anywhere out of a property. It's competition for food, so any opportunity that a leopard has to kill a cheetah, it will. And there has been a number of cases like that. So the leopard is just a bit stronger. There they go, there they're close to each other now. Siberia Zumi would like to know, what are some of the characteristics of a cheetah that make it quite different to that of the other cats? Well, Siberia Zumi, the cheetah is not only a much quicker land animal, but it also has the ability to move around, and its whole skeleton has been built for running. So even when it changes position, when it's running, it uses its tail as a rudder, which most cats don't do. They can run at great speeds. They also love the open areas, the cheetah, as we can see here. They have those strong black marks in front of their eyes. The reason why they have those is almost like in football. Football, wherever you are, or in America, you know how they put that stuff in front of your eyes to intimidate the other player. That's almost what the cheetah is doing with that. And they've learnt a lot through biomimicry in cheetah in terms of the structure of its skeleton. They're designing robots and all sorts of stuff from learning from the structure of a cheetah. Isn't that interesting? Can we see them anymore? Oh, they're gone.
Oh, there they are.
Oh, there they are. Well done, Dave. So they're heading now deep into the south. We're so lucky to have had a good 10, 15 minutes with them. Is that a bird on top of that? It looks like it. So it looks like just a starling on top of that tree. Like the cheetah walking behind it. There's the other one moving out into the next clearing. Cheetahs also don't have rosettes, so a leopard has the rosettes. Much different kind of pattern on their body. I'll show you a picture of a cheetah. So is that them gone? Well, what an exciting morning with those cheetah. Very, very lucky to have seen such good visual of them. I just want to quickly show you the cheetah here, as everyone's been quite interested in them. They are quite a vulnerable animal, so which means that they are endangered in terms there's not as many of them around as you would find the leopard. So its habitat is open woodland and savanna, and cheetahs are generally found in pairs. So mainly we'll find them in pairs. And their greatest enemies are lions, leopard, and crocodile. And in this area, some of the food that they would like to eat is small to medium-sized antelope, ostriches, warthogs, hares, and guinea fowls. So, that's just a quick little look at the cheetah. Dave, Aragorn, well done, my man. That was awesome. We're going to go and see how James is doing. While you do that, we're going to see if we can locate some leopard.
That is just wonderful, isn't it? 2 cheetah on cheetah plains, and I must confess, that property has very seldom delivered something, at least very seldom not delivered something. Ostriches, jackals, cheetahs, new leopard, wonderful stuff. Oh, sorry, they've gone off into Mala Mala. I did quite a long walk while you were looking at the cheetah into this block here to see if I could find tracks of Karula and her babies. I didn't find any tracks, but Chris, who was driving out of Vuatela, came from the other side, and he did find tracks of her and one cub at least, heading east, which is this direction. We're not going to push it any longer. We're going to do one more loop around this block, and then we'll just leave her be. She will bring them back to us at some stage. We'll bump into them on the road or something like that during the next little while. So that's going to be the update with Karula, and then we'll pop across to Arathusa and see what's going on there. Scott, you're asking how soon do leopards start contributing to the hunt? They don't really contribute to the hunt until they start killing for themselves. They will start killing small things from themselves probably from about 6 months. They might kill a scrub hare like the one we saw, or a mongoose. We've definitely seen young leopards with mongoose in their mouths before. But in terms of killing or helping their mothers kill, they don't really do that. She will start to take them on the hunt, apparently, from just about a year old, maybe a little bit younger in the case of a female. But they don't work as a team. So leopards are very much like house cats in that they will kill basically for themselves. And they might share with siblings or with parents or offspring, but they don't sort of kill like a pride of lions will kill. Just having a listen here. There's a wind that has come up, a strong wind. So it's always a good idea to just have a stop and a listen. There you can see it ruffling the marula leaves. Steve, a nice question from you, to which I think I know the answer. You say, why is it, and please excuse me my not looking you in the eye, Steve. I'm just looking into the bush here briefly. Steve, you want to know why it is that female leopards will stay with their mothers for such a short period, or for a shorter period than the males will? The reason, Steve, I think, has got to do with the fact that a female will set up her territory right next to where her mother's territory is, and so she will be either right next to her mum, or next to a sibling, or next to somebody very closely related when she goes independent. A male doesn't have that sort of luxury. His father will become totally intolerant of him once he becomes, or even approaches adult age, and likewise there will be lots of nomadic males knocking about the place trying to set up territories. So the difference is that he has got to be a lot more fully developed and able to look after himself than a female does when she goes independent. She can always almost fall back on being around home, fall back into her mother's territory, maybe even share a kill or two. And a male, once he goes independent, once he's sort of 2.5 years old, he starts to move away, his instinct is for him to really move a much larger distance, and the males are much less tolerant of each other. So he's got to be that much more fully developed before he tries to make a go of it on his own. Nice question, thank you, Steve. Sandy, you asked a very good question which follows on from Steve's. Do leopards who are related to each other, know each other. So, you know, some animals remain close up until adulthood or sort of beyond. Sandy, I think they do, but I don't think it makes any difference necessarily as to whether they are prepared to tolerate each other or not. So I think leopards probably do know each other. Certainly mothers know their daughters for life. They don't, and they will meet up every so often. Sometimes it's a friendly greeting, sometimes it's a kind of go on, go away, leave me alone. And sorry, I'm in two minds as to what to do here. Let's go this way. So Sandy, but I don't think the males do. I think the males very much, you know, a male, even if he sets up a territory next to his father's, I'm not convinced how tolerant the male would be of his sons or how friendly their meetings would be. I think they'd probably be very unfriendly. That said, we know that Kunyuma and, certainly Quarantine is still lurking around Cheetah Plains, and that's where his father, Mvula, we think who his father, Mvula, last held territory was around that area. So maybe they do seek some sort of solace. I just don't know how close their relationship would be. I'm not sure if they met each other, I've never seen a male leopard meet a sort of 3-year-old son, and I've never seen how they react. Oh, there we go. And then at the end of last year, so as Quarantine was about to turn 3, we did see him with his father sharing a kill. So that's fascinating. And I've no doubt, therefore, that they would recognize each other, because to find Tingana sharing a kill with an unrelated male leopard, I think would be, one never wants to say impossible out here, highly unlikely. That's wonderful. I forgot that update. That's correct. All righty, let's drive a little bit faster. Let's see what else we can find. Monkey Man, you want to know which leopards, or what leopards' favorite food is? Will they sort of select certain species over others? Monkey Man, I don't think it makes a huge difference. I think the biggest meal that they can get, they will take. At this time of the year, they take male impala quite often. At other times of the year, when the males are not sort of running around thinking only about sex, then they will normally take duiker or steenbok or younger impala. So, I mean, anything up to the size of an impala leopard would take. I don't think it's possible to say which ones are necessarily favorites. I mean, we had the Anderson male the other day who managed to kill and then hoist a baby buffalo, and I mean, that's quite something. Right, we're going to do one last drive down this road, and then we're going to head to Arathusa and see what we can find. And James Richard, you want to know how long we stayed with Tingana last night. Now, right at the end of the drive, Bryan and I managed to spot Tingana. Nothing to do with anything other than blind luck. We found him walking across Quarantine. We sat with him almost in the darkness to the end of drive. James, we sat with him for another, I guess, 25 minutes or so. He didn't move. He just lay right there and waited for the excitement of the impala to die down. And then Wiem went out a little bit after dinner with Louise, I think, and with Tandy, and they went to look and see, and they found him again on the clearing. And Dave, and he started alarm calling, not alarm calling, started sawing. He started making his territorial calls. So I think that his hunting yesterday evening was purely opportunistic. I don't think that he was necessarily on the hunt. And then they left him heading off basically towards Arathusa. I don't see any further twacks here. It's just a branch. I know it's just a branch, Brian. I know it is. You see what I'm looking at? Looks like a leopard cub sitting on that marula tree, staring at us. It doesn't look like a leopard cub when you zoom in on that, though, does it?
No.
No. But from that distance, you can see what I saw. Grant, you want to know which of the cats are the most aggressive to us? Which ones do we have to avoid? Grant, this is a discussion I have very often. No cat out here, no animal out here is inherently aggressive at all. They are potentially aggressive if you irritate them sufficiently. I suppose the most easily threatened kind of cat out here would be a leopardess or lioness with cubs. They would be the ones that you want to avoid stumbling into and irritating. But otherwise, I mean, if you know what you're doing, it's highly unlikely that you're going to be chased by... Oh dear, look what the elephants have done, Brian. It's highly unlikely that you're going to be chased by a cat. Watch out there. Sorry, Debbie, I think I'm understanding your question correctly. You say you heard the cheetah chirping to each other, and they make that bird-like chirp. And I think you want to know why they make a different sound from the other big cats. Is that correct? Well, Debbie, it's got everything to do with the fact that their voice box, their vocal box, is designed differently. So biologically, they don't need to have that big loud roar or the sawing noise of the leopard because they don't mark territory in the same way. They want to avoid being found. So they have no necessity to have that big voice that the lion, the leopard, the tiger, and the jaguar have. Mechanically, the reason is quite simple. Your voice box is held in place by something called a hyoid apparatus. So if you just put your hand on your throat there, and when you speak, you can feel it moving up and down. And it's held in place by a bony thing called a hyoid apparatus. And it holds your voice box or your larynx steady. Now, in the case of the big cats, that hyoid apparatus is not bone, it's cartilage. And so what it allows is the voice box to vibrate within the throat. And that allows them to make that tremendously loud, roaring noise. The cheetah doesn't have that. The cheetah has got a solid hyoid apparatus, a bit like ours, and so they don't make that loud, roaring noise. It also allows the cheetah, of course, to purr. A cheetah can purr very well. Some lovely birds here, which you can hear calling, the green wood hoopoo. You see him there, Brian? He's on top of the branch there. That's the green wood hoopoo, with his very obviously red beak and completely unobvious greenness. Used to be called the red-billed wood hoopoo, which makes infinitely more sense than calling a bird that is inescapably ungreen, green. So it is with the ornithologists. Monkey Man, you want to know about purple herons? Good grief. Monkey Man, you want to know if they ever come here? I would say no. Has one ever been seen here? I don't know. But a purple heron, as far as I know, it is a much more sort of swamp-living individual. I've only ever seen one in the Okavango Delta, where there was a lot of water indeed. So, yeah, I would have said probably not. Purple heron is a beautiful bird. You just go around the corner here and I'll show you a picture of a purple heron. Not to be confused, of course, Brian, with a... or a purple rain. See how topical I am?
I am very much.
I'm so topical. I'm so in. Here is the purple heron, everybody. The prince of herons. He's here somewhere. Oh dear. I'm letting you down horribly, Bryan. The purple. Where's the purple heron? This is so... You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of a rufous-bellied heron. I think there's no such thing as a purple heron here. So definitely we do not get a purple heron here, Monkey Man. Oh, there it is. Sorry. I knew there wasn't. There it is. Purple heron. I was thinking of a rufous-bellied heron. So, no, we don't. I mean, possibly we do get these here, but that wasn't what I was talking about. The rufous-bellied doesn't occur here at all, but the purple might. I've never seen a purple heron. That's very interesting. Thank you for that question, Monkey Man. That's brilliant. That's him there. It's supposed to be found here. It says found solitary or often in gardens, dams, pans, marsh pools. Wonder why I've never seen one. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Monkey Man. I appreciate that greatly. On we go. Sometimes it's good to get egg on your face, Bryan. You learn from that experience. How embarrassing. Oh, let's go across to Sam. He's got a very cool spider web to show you.
So, from viewing Cheetah, we are now having a look at another community spider nest that looks very inactive. The wind is blowing, so the whole nest looks like it's taken a lot of difficulty over the last night, but you can see the thick inner web in the middle there, and that little web will be utilized by a bird around here. I'm not sure what the name of that bird is, but there are birds that will use an old community spider nest to rear some chicks. Isn't that interesting? And when we come into the summer season again next year, we'll have loads of golden orb spiders. Those are one of my favorite spiders to view. So we are driving now exactly where I found Nkanyeni the last time. We went to go look at the area where I thought she might be denning her cubs, but there seems to be nothing. No sign of any cubs, no sign of Nkanyeni. So we're just driving up this boundary road. Well, hold on, there's more tracks on our right here. Let's have a look. Yeah, these are leopard tracks. Okay, so these are fresh because... Okay, so we've just found tracks. We're going to follow them now. Hopefully we can find her. Let's go and see how James is doing with the buffalo.
There is a beefy, everybody, and he looks to be in such a state of complete and absolute bliss. Don't you think? He's resting his head upon a lovely muddy pillow. He's rolled in the mud, and so that cool mud of the morning will now be warming and crusting on his back. He's got privacy, he's got a bit of shade, the African sun on his face. And he's just chewing very comfortably his cud from the evening. Hello, country girl Ash. I don't think we've heard from you for a while, so welcome back. You want to know if this buffalo is the same as a bison? It's completely distinct from a bison. They are, well, I mean, they're some in the same family, but they're totally different animals. And yes, you're absolutely correct that your bison are furrier than these ones. And there's a very good reason for that, of course, and that reason is that it is much colder in the winter where you are than it is here. So totally different from the American bison is the African or Cape buffalo. That's what we call this bird. That's a mammal, isn't it, Bryan? It is. I'm just going to quickly check exactly what the relationship is. Elaine in Kentucky, we've had a few questions like this as we head towards the nutritionally compromised time of the year, which constitutes the dry season. At least that is constituted by the dry season. And you want to know, oh, look at him, he's in absolute bliss, isn't he? You want to know if where they get their salt from. Well, largely from the bush, Elaine, from the grass that they eat, but they will also get salt from osteophagia, or I suppose a little bit of osteophagia, but mainly geophagia, the eating of the earth. They will eat stones, they will lick on sort of sodic areas, and so, yes, absolutely they do get salt, but we don't provide any salt for them in the same way that cattle get salt from licks. They do get enough salt from their food and from geophagia. Now, I'm just quickly looking in this book. I thought this little book of mine had or made mention of the American bison. No, I don't know the exact relationship of the bison. I think it is in the Bovidae family, I would have thought, but it may be an entirely different family on its own. So please can somebody check up for me, what family does the American bison belong to? And this is very important because when we do these school drives in the middle of the week, it's very important that we kind of give the kids something to, well, even for adults, give the kids something to kind of, that is vaguely familiar so that they can connect themselves with Africa. Right, that buffalo's gone to sleep. I have bored him to tears and he is now asleep. Let us continue. Hello, Leopard. Interesting question from you. Have I visited North America and what did I think? I think that's like asking, have you visited Africa? It's so vastly diverse. I certainly have visited North America twice. Once when I was a wee whippersnapper of about 5 years old, and that's very dim recesses of my memory, being some 35 years ago. Goodness, that's a long time. It's longer than you've been alive, Bryan. And then I did go in 2001 or 2. No, 3. Somewhere around there. I went to North America, and I went to Denver, and up into the Rockies for a little while, and then to the Carolinas. So those are the parts of North America that I've seen. Oh, and New York City, of course, which is tremendously exciting. And I enjoyed it very much, all parts. And thank you very much. We just had an update that bison do occur in the Bovidae family. So they are relatively closely related to the beefaloes that we see here. All right, we're going to pop across to Aratuza now. Tina Yusa, has the wind thrown off the animals this morning? Well, I'd love to say that that was the reason we're not seeing anything. It is certainly possible. But yesterday was very quiet as well, apart from the 2 leopards we saw. And, I mean, the fact that you're still sitting with me and I'm blethering away to you tells me that Sam is not being particularly more successful at the moment on Cheetah Plains. But yes, in the wind, absolutely animals will be slightly scarcer because they don't like to be, well, I mean, they tend to head into where it's sheltered, same as we would. But it is warming up now. Chive, as in what one might put in one's vichyssoise of a Christmas Eve. Shannon, you want to know if we get a natural chive that grows here? Not that I know of. I mean, there are lots of plants that have that kind of aroma to them. I mean, I can think of a chive exactly. I don't know of any natural chives here, though, no. it's interesting, it follows on to another sort of topic that people often ask about, and that is local cuisine. And, you know, people come out here and they want to try some local cuisine. Cuisine implies some sort of gourmet or delicious delicacy. And, you know, there's very little in South Africa that constitutes, that I think constitutes anything gourmet or cuisine. And that's because we don't have a great deal of sort of edible herbs that grow here. I think in most parts of Africa you'll find the flavors relatively bland, and that's also because obviously in a continent that is so nutrient poor, or in large area, huge expanses nutrient poor, you'll find that people just never had the time to develop sophisticated or flavorsome cuisine. There's a Nyala. Nyala bull. Just excuse the sound of my zip, everybody. It's not my... It sounds dreadful. There we go. It's all sorted out. That's a Nyala bull moving off, and he's got a little family with him, which is unusual. They don't have families. There's a cow, or ewe, coming into picture. You see it? Yeah, you can. I can't see my screen. And then two young bulls. And you can see that young bull behind the ewe, or the cow, is slowly starting to change to his adult colors, which are those lovely charcoal grays and browns. See that? So they start off all that rich red chestnut color, and then slowly the males turn to that lovely charcoal color. I think they're definitely, to my mind, the most beautiful antelope that we get out here. I think we did a poll a little while back and found that our viewers agreed with me, largely. Certainly sufficient of them for me to think that I wasn't mad. Marvellous. Well done, Bryan. It was nice to have an animal sighting, wasn't it? Yes. So back to the cuisine thing. We have this situation, so, I mean, people come out here and they say, can we have some local cuisine? Well, I mean, local cuisine consists of maize meal porridge, a fairly bland natural spinach with the consistency of snot, and some tomato and onion mix. And then if you're very lucky, you'll get some mapani worms or caterpillars tossed in to the bargain. And that is local cuisine. And that's because people haven't had the time out here always to develop sophisticated flavors. There's not a lot that grows out here that does have a sophisticated or delicious flavor. And so, yeah, food is generally pretty bland out here. Cat in Tampa, you say, do we have anything like a maple tree where you can tap the sap and drink it, you know, make it sweet sort of syrup? No, we don't, but we do have acacia gum. Some trees will produce a gum, an acacia gum, the thorn trees, and that's edible, but it's not sweet like maple syrup. It's sweetish, but it's nothing like as sweet as maple syrup. You do get something called a lala palm, which is a sort of palm tree, obviously. You can tap the sap of that, and people either drink that straight, and I don't think it's very tasty, but they do make a lot of wine out of the lala palm. It's called lala wine, and apparently it's quite nice. I've actually never had any. It doesn't grow here. But down further south in KwaZulu-Natal, where it's a bit wetter, they get it. Country girl Ashby, people are obviously very hungry out there. It's making me want my breakfast. You say, do we get honeysuckle out here, and can you eat that? No, we don't get honeysuckle. Certainly not in the same kind of honeysuckle that you get, I don't think. Nothing out here that would constitute honeysuckle, no. There's not a lot to eat out here, I've got to tell you. Like I was saying, I was chatting to Renia some Klongwo the other day, who grew up in this area, And he said, if you cannot hunt, if you can't catch birds or catch the odd impala or something like that, you'd starve. You couldn't be a modern vegan and live in the Kruger National Park off the land. You would very quickly starve to death. Kudu! Bryan, good grief, our cup runneth over yet again. We'll have to start another cup. Let me just sneak a little bit forward, sorry, there's a whole herd of them here. There we go. Little ones, young bull. You can see the young bull on the right there, very typically sitting like a young teenager, lying on the ground doing nothing, while Mum stands around keeping watch, chewing her cud, and her sisters do the same. And then all the way into the bush behind, some little ones. And some of those, of course, probably born about 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago now. We're about to hit May. There they are. See how well hidden they are? Only when Bryan zooms in really close can you actually see them. Natasha and David in Ontario, thank you very much for this question about the flies. And have I managed to eat any today, and how are they? They started off actually quite badly, but now, with the wind, they're not so good at flying, are they, Bryan? No. So they are mercifully, or hopefully, being blown a long way away from here. Nasty, beastly things. As I say that, though, I think I got that one. One is always in two minds as to whether one should hit a fly or not, mainly because, well, either you do yourself an injury, but when the size of a fly reaches a certain point, say the size of a thumbnail, you're in two minds as to whether to accept the tickling feeling or to take the chance of having the fly's guts spread about whatever part of you it happens to be sitting on. Not so, Bryan.
This is very true.
It is a dreadful dilemma, I find, at times. But I think you will find that cud-chewing kudu over there is enjoying the fact that there's a breeze blowing the flies off her too. So these two very closely related, of course, to the Nyala. Did you see her vomit up into her mouth there, Bryan, filling her cheeks? She does look like a chipmunk. She looks like she's chewing her tobacco. She's going to spit it out. Alrighty, let's leave these kudus and go and see what is happening at Aratuza. Well, now, Jenby, you say you love the Shangaan cabbage so much that you got the recipe from the chef at Arathusa when you were here. Jen, cabbage, of course, is just not an African thing. It's a European thing, and there are recipes that were developed in Africa for different kinds of foods that are very delicious indeed. And certainly, I mean, we get many curries from Morocco, and the Malay influence in the Cape has produced some delicious foods. But Shangaan cabbage, which is served around the lodges throughout this area, is not in fact Shangaan cabbage. It's a cabbage recipe named Shangaan cabbage. Cabbage doesn't grow here unless you plant it in the soil. But the spinach, the local spinach called morojo, that grows in creepers all over the place. And Mia, you thought that they developed local cuisine just to gross safari guests out. No, I don't think that they do that, Mia. Of course, the one great example of that is the Mopani worm, which is a caterpillar of the emperor moth. And it is edible. Certainly, I've eaten it a number of times. It is not very tasty. It tastes like whatever you cook it in. And it's sort of like gamey sawdust when dry. And it's not a delicacy. You will read about it in tourism books, that a Mopani worm is a delicacy. It's not a delicacy. It's a necessary part of the diet for people to supplement their protein with. Anyway, on that note, let's head across to Cheetah Plains and get an update from Samuel.
So here you've been talking about local cuisines. It's quite nice, about the different edible things that you can find out here in the bush. There is a few things that you can eat, and a few things that you may not eat, because if you eat them you might just get quite sick. But myself and Dave, just a little update on what we've been doing. We just drove back through that open area to see if we could find the cheetah again, but they're gone now. They've headed south, deep into the other property, into the other reserve rather, and we were following the tracks of a leopard for quite some time, but it seems that she is crossed into Kruger, which is the other reserve. So we are just in between those cheetah and the leopard, but at least we saw the leopard when we were last here, which was very, very cool. And so now we're just going to bumble through Cheetah Plains again. Once again, not quite sure where we are half the time, but that's the best part of it, you know. We're just driving through, and next thing we see a cheetah, or, you know, anything really. That's the way it's been at Cheetah Plains so far. Sandy has asked a very relevant question in terms of, do we ever have a problem with overpopulation of a specific species out here in the bush? Well, Sandy, you know, thankfully we have predators out here in these areas, and this is something that's hugely important, because predators will regulate an ecosystem. So it will regulate the number of Impala, regulate the number of kudu and Nyala that are grazing and browsing on the different trees and grasses here. So I can imagine in the United States you have a problem with deer because there's nothing to kill them anymore, so they just overpopulate and consume all the natural vegetation. And that's what really fascinates me. I was talking about it a few days ago about how, you know, what is rewilding and what is it to understand the intelligence of ecosystems, because ecosystems are, you know, dynamic, diverse, intelligent things, you know, and we are, of course, we are part of that. And to understand the influence of a leopard on the landscape and how it's looking after the certain numbers of species so that some things don't. Oh, hello. It's a giraffe. That's very cool. He's running. Look how quick that giraffe ran. So it wasn't far from our vehicle. It must have been about 50 meters away. But it got startled from the sound of my brakes, which are quite squeaky. So, and it's also quite a difficult time to be out in the bush because the wind is blowing quite strongly. So that giraffe is also feeling a little bit skittish purely because of this wind. They can't really identify what it is they are looking at because the smell is being swept away. You can't see it at all anymore, hey Dad? Now it's gone. At least we managed to see a giraffe. We've seen a giraffe on Cheetah Plains. From the quick view that I had of it, it looked like a male. The reason I say that is because I saw the ossicones quickly that were quite roundly shaped, and the skin, the tone of the skin was quite dark. When we find with males, that is the difference, is they're actually quite darker looking than the females. But just going back to Sandy's comments on understanding the intelligence of ecosystems, You know, understanding how a lion walks its landscape, you know, really sitting down and listening to the ecology, and also listening to how a lion influences that ecology. It can really teach us a lot, you know, everything from even an elephant and how an elephant is listening and experiencing an ecology and changing the dynamic of it, and how it creates room for other species to live. I mean, the problem with science is that we look at everything in parts, and sometimes we don't look to see the whole, the way in which things are. So we can't isolate everything into looking at one specific thing. It's important for us to try and, at least important for me, to try and open myself up to all the different complexities of the bushes to understand it better. But James has a warthog, so let's see that warthog.
There, everybody, is a very, very large pig. And he's lying, like all pigs should, of course, at this time of the day, warming himself in the sun. He can hear my voice, but he hasn't bothered to do anything other than turn his ear gently towards me. There he goes, he's up. Hello, old fella. What do you want? He says, go away. Something's given him a surprise. Now, a big pig like that weighs about 100 kilograms. That's 220 pounds. That's the same as a baby elephant. And they're very compact, because if you were to say, how big are they, or to try and give let me sneak forward. As I was to try and give you sort of an animal of comparable size. I mean, they're about as tall as a Labrador, I guess. But he's gone off there. But they are much, much larger. Or much, much denser. Yeah, he's off. We're approaching Arethusa. I'm going to try and get an update. It's going to be on open communication, so you're going to hear it. So do excuse me. Morning stations, Arethusa. May I have an update for the morning? Copy, thanks. Well, that's not very good.
Ah,
here we go.
Yeah, the cut line. East. At 24.
1 sec.
Which cut line? Chalice and Epi. Cross my Dodge, heading east.
Right, so nothing of particular import for us going on. Let me turn that off so that you don't have to listen to it, leathering on in your ear. Right, we've come on to Arethusa. Maybe we'll find some tracks of shadow, but I suspect the fact that no one is in this particular area means that they haven't come to look for her here because they think she's still on Vulture or Juma. So it might be worth our while going back and just doing a turn around there at some stage. Let's go look at the airstrip, see what's going on there quickly, and then we'll head back this way. We haven't been here for a while, have we, Bryan? No. Ooh, Amelie, an interesting one from you. What do I think the first species of animal to live here was? Well, it depends, I suppose, on what you define as an animal. So, I mean, some of the most primitive living animals there are would have been the sponges. And this used to be a sea, so perhaps it was a sponge of some sort. That's not very exciting, I know. SpongeBob SquarePants' ancestors, I guess, were probably the first animals that lived in this area. And then I guess it would have been some kind of invertebrate, some sort of insect, maybe a snail. And the first mammals to live in this area, gosh, I don't know. I'm willing to bet that they're all pretty much extinct now. But that would have been millions of years ago. Thank you very much for that, Amelie. That's something to think about. The first animal in this area. So like I say, this area did used to be underwater. It used to be a sea many millions of years ago. And within that sea, I'm sure there must have been many fish. There must have been many invertebrates. And indeed, possibly the odd sponge. Ah. Hello, Heidi in Switzerland. You wouldn't know the difference between a beak and a bill, because we do use the words interchangeably. And Heidi, you say in German there's only one word. No, that's because German is efficient and English is inefficient, Heidi. It's the same thing. You can use the term beak or bill. I don't think it makes any difference at all. I certainly use them interchangeably completely. And it's like many things with the English language. Many inconsistencies, oddities and strangenesses. And I think it must be one of the most difficult languages in the world to learn if you're not a first language speaker of English. Ooh. Gosh, Bryan, it's blowing up a gale out here. We might be blown away. Dust flying in our eyes. Ooh. That is a violet-backed starling now being chased. You see it there still? It was chased by a starling. It's in the corner of that, yeah, that corner, top right-hand corner of that tree. But I don't think we'll see him. I'm astounded by that because the violet-backed starling, I thought, would have gone back overseas. But clearly not. Violet-backed starling, everybody, I don't know if you've got a view there. Most stunning bird. Again, the ornithologists have managed to completely ruin the name that it had. It was called the plum-coloured starling, and that's exactly what it is. It's plum-coloured. There. No? Come back here. You think there are more in here? I've seen a few of them in here before. Maybe they've got a nest around here, and maybe these are juveniles who are not going to fly away for the first season that they are around. Now, of course, as soon as they let go of the branches here, they will disappear northwest at an extremely fast speed because of this wind. No, no plum-coloured starlings in there. Let's just have one quick look here at this bird up ahead, and then we'll go across to Cheetah Plains. You see that large raptor there, Bryan? I think it to be a vulture. Oh, I don't know that it is a vulture, actually. We need the super zoom. We got lost. Yeah, he's very far. It is a vulture, everybody. A white-backed vulture. Just watch, if you can, how when he turns now into the wind, see how he stops moving almost entirely because the wind is so strong. And now he'll start to increase speed as he goes around, and he'll turn again. That's wonderful. He's on a thermal there, going up and up and up into the sky to go and find some hapless dead thing that he might feed upon for the rest of the day. Right, while the vulture flies off towards the northeast, let's head across to the due east with Samuel Chevalier.
From a white-backed vulture to Sam and Dave on the probably the most southern part of Cheetah Plains. we are adventuring through the thicket very, very slowly to see if we can spot something out here in the bush. It's interesting being out here on the plains. From the plains into this thicket, you can notice it's quite bush willow, combretum, which is a type of plant. These plants over here is called monkey orange. You get a lot of it on Buiatella. And this one here is a bush willow. Large fruited bush willow. Nature is beautiful is commenting, saying that we saw some hyena tracks close to where we saw those cheetah earlier. Well, a hyena will definitely, not be scared of a cheetah. A cheetah would be very scared of a hyena if they came in contact, but the cheetah would be a lot quicker to get away from that hyena. But if there was an opportunity for that hyena to kill the cheetah, it definitely would. Surely. So that's the answer. Nature is beautiful. All things out here are actually quite scared of the hyena. The hyena are quite dominant animals out here in the bush, especially when they're in their numbers. They've got those powerful, strong jaws that all predators are quite nervous of. Even, with wild dogs, even there's a whole pack of wild dogs, they would be quite scared to try and take on a hyena. DC Dax wants to know, we often see some of them in packs or coalitions. So mainly what you find is that the females are solitary and the males are in coalitions, which is a cheetah. Sorry, Dax, it's a cheetah. So the female cheetah is solitary and will hunt sometimes on its own, whereas the males, which are in coalitions, will hunt together. So that's the answer, Dax. That's when you would find a cheetah running on its own trying to catch something. Wow, it's really, really quite interesting driving through an area that you have never been before. As I said, you can quite clearly see on the trees here that the wind is blowing quite significantly. And this is going to make all the difference out here. The animals are going to be quite shy. So in order for us to really see them, we need to be shy ourselves and go slowly. Even all the birds are feeling skittish. There's vultures in the sky. Lots of interesting things this morning. And as I speak, my twin brother Thomas is heading up a plant day. They're building a big food garden for a blind school in Cape Town, which is really cool. So I wish him all the best. If you're watching, Tom, all the best to your plant day at the blind school this morning. Ooh. I know that my brother and my sister only really get a chance to watch on the weekends, so they might just be watching, and I'm just going to send them a hello, especially on my sister's birthday. Just while we go through this thick brush and try and locate on something that is sneaking around here. Let's go and see what James is doing.
Well, I mean, it would be a great and wondrous thing if all the chevaliers are watching. Jade and Tom, who I've yet to meet, and of course, the very famous photographer family that they come from, Nick and Tim. Those are all the chevaliers I've ever heard of in my life. And those are all the warthogs that there are here on Arathusa. on the Arethusa International Airstrip. And those chaps are just feeding through the clearings. I must say that they're already starting to look like they've taken most of what there is to eat. You can see that the cover that was here a few weeks ago after those late rains that we had is starting to disappear. How many have we got there? We've got 2 sows. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 3 babies. All of them feeding on their knees. Their knees, of course, get very calloused very quickly from feeding on there. There are 5 little ones, 4 little ones. 2 sows, 4 babies. And they will be ultra aware in this wind. I suspect that's why they probably have chosen to come and feed in the clearing versus sort of feed on the fringes of the woodland, because they cannot hear anything, of course. Let me just try and cover up my microphone a bit. How's that, Louise? Is that better? I've covered it up now. I can't put it in my mouth, Brian. That's ridiculous. Louise, is that better? I sound like Darth Vader now. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm just trying to cover the microphone from the wind. I wanted to say something of vital importance about those warthogs, but I've now forgotten what it was. Oh yes, I remember now. So they'll spend some time out in the open here because they will try and avoid being too close to thick bush where the leopards could get them. Now, while we turn around, there's some zebra the other side of the airstrip. We're going to go and find them. Samuel has got a champagne bird or a suicide bird. I'm not sure which.
We have just been crawling through the bush here, and we have just spotted a black-bellied bustard that seems to have just gone missing for a second there. Where are you? Can you see it, Dave? Oh no. Let's give it a few seconds. I really want to show you this bird, purely because we saw cheetah this morning, and once when I was out on the plains, when I was on my training, I watched a cheetah trying to catch one of these black-bellied bustards. So let's just give it a few seconds. Maybe you'll walk back out into frame. Okay, let's reverse quite a lot. Maybe we can sneak through and get a picture there. As you can see, it is very thick. Yeah, it looks like we've lost the black-bellied bustard. Did we even get hold on, maybe we can find it. Stay positive. Let's stay positive. Can we find the black-bellied bustard? Okay, last look. I really want to show you guys this bird. It's the most incredible bird. The champagne bird. It's got such a great call. I'll play the call for you just now. Let's just see if we can spot it one last time. Alright, looks like we've lost the black-bellied bustard. It's okay. It's so difficult to try and stick on a bird. We had it for a while and then we just didn't get it in time. It's okay. Let me show you what bird that was though, and why we call it the champagne bird. We've already got this on our bird list, so it's not a new one to the bird list, even though I'd love to have a new bird to our list. See, this book has been quite overused. Black-belly bustard. Bustard. Here we go, 133. Oh, sorry, Mr. Ellie. I basically just knocked Mr. Ellie straight off. Alright, so, where are you? Not the Corey bastard. Franklin. Yeah. Black-belly bustard, where is it? And there it is, the black-belly bustard. So that's the bird we just saw. And I'm going to play its bird call now. As you know, that is not the sound of the black-belly bustard. This is the sound. So, that is the sound of what it sounds like. That sounds very cool, almost like a champagne bottle that is popping. So we didn't manage to see it. We'll let you know when we catch it again. Let's go see what James is doing with the zebra.
To me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
Sounds like a very traumatic time there on Cheetah Plains, everybody. Here are a herd of zebra, which fascinating because in the front, well, with its bottom towards us, they were walking down the strip in a long line. With its bottom towards us is the stallion. That is the sort of harem leader. And at the other side of the group, there we go, is the oldest mare. Now, when they were walking down the strip here, they had the stallion in front, the oldest mare behind. Now, that is contrary to what you will hear or read about when they move through woodland, and that's quite interesting. There's an interesting little story here to tell you about rhino. We know that black rhino move through thick bush with the female in front and the baby behind. Through open areas, a white rhino does precisely the opposite. It will move the baby in front and sort of shepherd it from behind. And the reason for that, we think, is that a black rhino, because it lives in thick bush, will be ambushed from the front if a predator was to try and attack it. Whereas if you live in an open area, you're much more likely to be attacked from behind, which is what would happen in the case of a white rhino. Now, when these animals move through the woodland, you find the mare in front. When they're expecting an ambush, the mare will move in front and the stallion behind. And suddenly they're in the open here and they've kind of switched that around, where the stallion is now moving in front and the oldest mare behind. So she's fulfilling that same defensive role as the female black and white rhino, but switching positions in the group as that happens. And I think that's rather fascinating. Don't you, Bryan?
I do.
Yes. You can hear the wind is howling. Oh, this is fascinating, Bryan. Look what we have here. This is great stuff. Brilliant. We have some impala running, and they're, of course, running from the apex predator of the area. The apex predator, dressed in various kinds of the latest athletic wear, hurtling down the airstrip as we speak, followed closely by a Toyota Land Cruiser. This is an amazing thing to be viewing. Sorry about this. We'll leave fairly soon. Teresa, you want to know what the Shangaan word for protector is? I don't actually know. The Shangaan word for God is Shkwemvu. The Shangaan word for many gods, or the ancestors, is Gwemvu, so it's basically the plural of gods. Just watch how these animals react to the human beings. There's one woman and 2 young kids. There is no ways that any of them, I don't care how fast, how athletic their clothing is, would ever be able to catch an impala or a zebra, and yet the zebra are terrified of them. And it is actually, apart from being quite amusing, watching 3 people run down the airstrip followed by a car, it is quite amusing to watch and instructive to watch how they see us as a total predator. They wouldn't react like that to lions running down the airstrip, everyone. Lions would be running substantially faster than that lot, I tell you that for free. Come on, nearly breakfast time. That's it, into the wind you run. Little guy on the left's going to probably drop off and get into the car before the end. Okay, we won't wait to watch that happen. Let's carry on. See how that zebra watched them? Absolutely terrified. I'm just wondering whether I should tell them they're live to the internet or not. They're now being shielded by the Land Cruiser. All right, that's it, everybody. That's the end of our zebra sighting. Yes. Oh, very odd indeed. Anyway, so it goes. That's how if you want to keep fit out here in the bush, it's quite difficult. We normally do our running in the middle of the day. The Arathusa airstrip has currently got something of a traffic jam. Leopold, I'm going to answer your question only on the back end of you answering mine first. You said, what was it like growing up in the town that I grew up in? Leopold, tell me where you're from and I'll be able to compare it with your experience. So if you could quickly send through a tweet and telling me where you are from, I will tell you exactly what it was like. Because I think you'll be surprised at how similar our childhoods were. Here we have a, looks like a king air. Bryan, the other one, a small piper. Not a piper, I've forgotten the word. I think it might be a piper, actually. Piper cub and a king air. Fascinating. Great sighting. Static. I'll call them in, shall I?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Gonna head back sort of towards Juma now. We've seen all the animals on Arathusa at the moment, and some of the humans. European roller, you're wondering about what we do in our downtime and whether we're allowed onto other properties to explore. The answer is no. No, the property, the landowners of this area are very strict about who may and who may not go onto and off their properties. So no, absolutely not. The same borders that we cross now are uncrossable, or the same borders that are uncrossable now are uncrossable all the time. Unless, for example, Brent sometimes goes off to Simbambili to have a visit with some friends there. That's absolutely allowed, but we can't go and then explore. So you'll drive the access road in, and then that's it. You can't sort of wander onto Mala and have a stroll about the place and a picnic in those big clearings on your day off. It would be very nice to do that, though. Leopold, you're from Canada, and that's very helpful, but Canada, of course, is one of the largest countries in the world. I'm going to assume that you grew up in a city in Canada, Leopold. I grew up in a place called Johannesburg, as did Bryan, and Johannesburg is a very large city with most modern first world conveniences, At the time when I was growing up, South Africa had the most sophisticated banking system in the world. So quite apart from it being an African upbringing, which it was very, very first world. And Johannesburg remains a relatively first world city in some parts of it. Some parts of it are not first world at all. Some parts of it are very poor and very poverty-stricken. And I think that's probably more what you are trying to get a sense of. So, I mean, the southwestern townships, or Soweto, to the south of Johannesburg, still contains a huge number of what we call squatter camps, or informal settlements, where people really struggle to make ends meet. And then there are 2 or 3 other sort of squatter camps or informal settlements all the way around Johannesburg. But the part I grew up in was pretty much first world. Hey, Bryan? Yeah. I mean, Johannesburg's a massive city. It's probably, I think there are about 5 million people living there now, and it was built on the back end of the gold mining industry. And so the wildlife has long since departed the area. I think it never found it. And I mean, it was until very recently the economic hub of the continent. There was some wildlife, but it's farmland, very close to a pretty sophisticated city. I don't think anybody grew up sort of really rural. Brent then moved to a much more rural area up north of Durban, called Pinda, and then into Botswana. But we all grew up pretty much in what would be entirely navigable cities for you. So I think a lot of people think that if they come here, they're going to really struggle to find their way around. They're not going to know how things operate. And if you come from America or the UK or Europe, you'll be able to find your way around here pretty quickly. We've got all the mod cons. It's not like going to the Congo, for example. Dave, you want to know if I've ever been to Australia? No, I haven't. I've certainly wanted to go there, and I'm sure I will one day. You want to know if I've ever been to Australia? No, I haven't. I've certainly wanted to go there, and I'm sure I will one day. But no, I haven't ever been there. It's not a cheap place to go if you're on the rand. There are lots of cheaper places to go if you're on our currency. And Australia is not one of them. Nor is Europe, but I do have a godmother who lives in Australia, in Perth, although I haven't seen her for many, many years. Right, we're back onto Juma. There are 2 Impala that are clearly in the throes of having a bit of a spat with each other. And they are exactly the kind of thing that Tingana was looking to try and eat last night. Looking at each other, pretending not to care, but actually very cross. Unless they've seen a predator. But there'd probably be alarm calling. Cool wind juxtaposed with this kind of, and the sun is still very hot. Hey, Bryan?
It is.
Burns the cheekbones. Let's leave these Impala. I just want to do a quick turn around where Shadow was last seen, because I haven't seen her tracks coming out. Maybe we'll be lucky. Sorry, I'm just, with the wind it is becoming quite difficult to hear the radio. Randy, you're in Kansas, and you say we were discussing hares and rabbits earlier today, and you say, is there a difference in the gestation period given that a leveret coming out of a hare is so much more precocious than an altricial leverage coming out of a rabbit. Yes, I would think there is. I don't know what the gestation period is, but rabbits will give birth to more offspring, which will preclude them having a long gestation, and hares will give birth to few offspring, which are larger and much more precocious. But I don't know what that difference is. I have no idea what the gestation period of a scrub hare is. I'm guessing probably not much more than a month. And a rabbit probably even less. Right, we are now pulling back onto Juma. This kind of thicket off to the left-hand side is a favourite haunt of Shadow the leopard. You can hear some southern grey hornbills going crazy there. Listen to them. Such a plaintive, sad song. Especially compared with the red-billed and yellow-billed, which go... Did you like that hornbill, Bryan? Thank you. Thank you very much. Very accurate. I wonder why they were yelling like that. I'll just drive slowly around the corner here. Look-see. No, not much going on there. But I don't remember what an elephant looks like. I don't believe I've seen one for at least 5 days. There's a mongoose coming across. Dwarf mongoose on the right-hand side coming across the road now. Well done. Got a big fright. Here comes another one. They're obviously all going to live in this little, in this little dead tree. Yeah, there are more come. There's a whole heap of them coming streaming across the clearing. Yeah, we see you. Here he comes. Here comes another one, little one. Let's move where we can see them properly. Let's just have a look at them here. Bryan will now make their call and they will emerge. Or not, as the case may be. Oh, there we go. Top of the log. There we go. That's very sweet. All right, well, as they go all foraging to find all sorts of little invertebrates and grubs and possibly the odd scorpion, let's head across to Chevalier and find out if he is, in fact, still on Cheetah Plains or perhaps another property entirely.
Well, we had a great morning on Cheetah Plains. We managed to find what we set out to do, and we went to go and find cheetah or ostrich, and we came across 2 cheetahs. So that was a fantastic morning. We are now back on Juma's property, heading on Cheetah Cutline, and we've been told that there could be something interesting at the dam, but we're not sure of its location at the moment, but we're going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam, see what... Oh, there goes a steenbok running through there. You can just catch it running. It might come into friend on the left. Awesome. Did you manage to get it or not? Yeah. So that was cool. That was a steenbok running. I love watching them run. We were just saying, myself and Dave, we love coming across the steenboks because they're just an exciting little antelope to watch out here in the bush. But there was a question from Leopard earlier around how our upbringings were. I thought I would answer that. I think James had a very, very different upbringing to me. I was brought up, I was born in Joburg, where he was born, but I left Joburg very, very soon after. And I was then brought up in Cape Town. I went to school in Cape Town at a place called Western Province Prep, and I went to the beach pretty much every single day that I could. I'm a big, big beach person in terms of surfing or bodyboarding. I like to bodyboard, which means go out there with a small board and some fins, and I like to go out with my friends, take some big waves. And that's generally how I was brought up. But I also had my twin brother, so we were very, very close, and my sister. And unfortunately, my mother passed away when I was a young boy, so I had to go and go into boarding school from a young age, which was quite tough at the age of 10 years old. But you know what? To have a brother, a twin brother, a coalition, much like those coalition of cheetahs that we saw on cheetah plains, my brother and I have been very much like that growing up, working together, making each other stronger. Yeah, we were the Chevalier Coalition. I'm sure you'll enjoy that, Thomas. But I love my family very much. I've had an amazing stepmother. Her name's Michaela Strachan. And my father, Nick. And they look after me, and they've brought me up really well. Really taught me to appreciate both the small things in life and the big things, and given me the opportunity to have such an incredible education. Such incredible education. But I still want to make it to America. I want to go there one day. I was telling everyone yesterday that I really want to go to the Yellowstone National Park and learn more about the project of the rewilding of those wolves in Scotland, because that is my passion. Ultimately, my passion is learning about rewilding and how it might benefit mankind and humankind, rather, to have more diversity of life around us. Instead of listening to the loss of biodiversity, how can we have more around us? Mia in Illinois wants to know, do we have any more insects that are crawling around? Mia, yes we do. We've got a few caterpillars that have been crawling around. We've got some spiders that have been dangling from the trees. So we've been I tried to find some community nest spiders earlier, Mia, but they seem to have gone. This wind doesn't make it any easier though. And we sat with, I think it was antlion this morning. Yeah, we sat with an antlion. Mia, were you with us? It was really cool. But there are still loads of insects. Donna from Oz is asking, is it true that if you have a cut on your arm or your leg or something, that you can use a spider web and put it on the cut and it can help heal it? Donna, I've never heard of such a thing. I can imagine that it could be a possibility. Okay, we're going to go down here. I think it might be a possibility. I know that spiders' webs are just incredible in all sorts of ways. So I wouldn't be surprised if it had some sort of health benefit. But those spider webs that they create, it's just a very, very strong fiber that is able to be made within the body of the spider, of the abdomen. You know, like most products that we make, we have to heat, beat, and treat in order to use. You know, whereas a simple spider is creating one of the strongest materials just through its stomach juices in its body. So nature truly is intelligent. It truly has another way of solving problems. And Deborah Armchair Traveller made a note that some of the termite mounds were bigger than what they've seen on Juma. Deborah, it was an insight that I didn't quite notice myself. Did you notice that, Dave?
Can't say I did, no.
Yeah, so I didn't quite notice that, Deborah, and I can't imagine why they would be bigger. It might just seem bigger because it's more open. You know, all the termite mounds like this one that we can see here to our right is covered in in foliage and feathered top chloris grass. So it could have just been the foliage around here that makes it look a little bit smaller. When you're out in the plains and there's nothing around, everything always looks a little bigger than it really is. So that would be my answer, Deborah, but you never know. It could be making quite a significant difference between the size of those termite mounds. This is quite a sizable termite mound, if I do say so. Emily would like to know what countries in southern Africa or Africa have I been to and what is my favorite place? Emily, I've been to Namibia and I've been to Mozambique and I've been to the top of Botswana. I didn't actually go right into Botswana. And there's Lesotho and Swaziland that I've been to. And what is my favorite place? You know, as much as I am a bush person, I enjoy the bush hugely. It's more that I enjoy all types of bush, nature and everything, from the tiny little squid in the ocean to the grasses on top of the termite mound. And the one place on this earth that I've just had such joy was on the Mozambican coastline, where I just went for a run at about 4 in the morning, and I just would run down this isolated beach in Mozambique. That was probably the happiest moments of my life. I was running and all these crabs were on the beach, and I was running trying to catch up to the crabs. And as I would get there, they would put out their pincers, try to get to the water, but I'll try to chase them before they could get to the water. So that would probably be my favorite place. Dave, do you have a favorite place in Africa that you like to go?
I think Namibia for me.
David's place is Namibia. Why is that? David's quite... It's the
beautiful desert. The sea meets the desert.
Dave loves the beauty, the scenic, the desert. What is your favorite place? What do you guys enjoy? What is your favorite bit of terrain to be in? I do also like to be in places that are quite harsh, quite elements, you know, in terms of experiencing something on this planet. That's why I know that I would love, if I went out to Alaska, I would be the happiest chap ever. Just because, even though it's harsh, that brutality is just something that you don't get to experience often. Okay, so there's been reports that there might be a lion around here. Just before we link to James and see what James is doing, let's just slowly creep around here and see, because we've just arrived at Buffelshoek Dam, so what might be here, we don't know. I can hear some oxpeckers. We've got a hippo. We've got a hippo! But I think there's more than just a hippo around here. This morning, I was told that there could potentially be a lion. Just hold on 1 second. Let me chat to man from Jacobin. Have a look at that. That hippo in the middle of the watering hole. How's it full? Mfazi, is there anyone on lock? No one on lock. Okay. Thank you, Mbo. Thanks. Okay, so we might just have something quite exciting to see down here. Let's have a look. What is it going to be? I always love surprises, eh? So let's get a little bit of a surprise. That's always a nice surprise, to see a hippo in the drainage line. Well, not in the drainage line, sorry, in the watering hole. Okay, you guys ready? Oh, my car makes a horrible sound. Okay, so I think it's down in the drainage line. To be specific, I can see... Oh, lion. We've got a lion this morning, everyone. It's a female lion that is lying in the drainage line just next to Buffalo's Hook. Awesome. Look at those. The question is, which female is this? And is she on her own? Which female are you? Let's have a look at your eyes. If anyone knows what female... It is one of the Inkuhumas, I know, but the question is, which of the females is this one? And if you know, because I know there's lots of people that have been watching for many years and months and can recognize a female when they see one, please hashtag SafariLIVE and give us... So it's not amber eyes. It's not amber eyes. We've had a look at the eyes now. She seems quite full, so she's eaten. And she looks like she's quite tired. She must have had quite a long night. But what's really interesting is when you see a female leopard, female lion like this, you can often find that they'll contact call for the other female. So if we're lucky, she might get up and start contact calling, see if she can find the others. But she does look quite comfortable in this position that she's in at the moment. But how cool is this to come across a lion now? We've already seen 2 cheetah this morning, and now we've seen a female lion. She looks quite beautiful, very beautiful. A golden look in the drainage line. So, Annie's just made a comment that, oh, there she is, that perhaps this is the missing Inkuhuma who has been mating with the Birminghams. So then this is the first time that I'm meeting her. Because there's five within the Inkuhumas. So I have to get to know them over time and work out the distinctive characteristics of each of these female lions. So you said that she's just been mating with the Birmingham boys. So she very well could be getting pregnant. And leopard cubs, it's lion cubs, can often be 3 months. Brenda in Virginia is saying that potentially this could be a lioness that has cubs around here. But I don't think so. Let's have a look at the suckle marks. The suckle marks don't look like they've been used. Most likely not around with cubs at the moment. She either looks very full or she looks pregnant. One of the two. I haven't seen lion cubs before, so that would be so cool if she does. I mean, she could actually be coming here to give birth. You know, some lionesses, or most lionesses, will leave the pride to have their litter. So this could be that the lion has come and found a nice spot for her to have her cubs. Because I'm actually very unaware if she has already had the cubs or she's looking quite full. So Ellen in North Dakota is saying that this could be the one that is pregnant. Ellen, I would agree with you there, because she definitely looks very, very pregnant, and this could be the start of something new with new cubs, something happening in this drainage line. It'd be interesting to see how it all pans out, Ellen. But let's just go and see how James is doing, and we'll be back with the lions shortly.
Well, everybody, I shan't take up any more of your time with my yakking around. Samuel, the cat finder, has found another cat, and that is marvellous indeed. Thank you to all of you for your wonderful discussion that we had today. I think we had some lovely chats as the dawn broke on this blustery autumn day. We're going to head back for some coffee and seeds. Big thanks to Bryan for your efforts today. Thank you, Bryan. Well done, thumb. There we are. And we'll hand you back to Sam and the lion and see you this afternoon at 3:30. Bye-bye.
So James has gone back for his coffee and some seeds. But we're going to sit with this lioness just for the last few minutes of drive. We're going to see if we can get to a position where we can have a good look at her and see what she looks like in her present state. There she is. I don't want to come anywhere closer, so I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable. There she is. So let's have a look at her. So Ellen also thinks that this could be the female that is pregnant, that has left the pride. I think you could be right. You could be right. So this is the first time I'm meeting her. So the viewers are also agreeing with me that this lioness could be moving away from the pride to give birth to her cubs. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. And it's a 3-month period of gestation that they have before they give birth. So they'll often go into drainage lines or areas where it's quite safe to have the cubs. So we might just be seeing her quite a lot. We'll definitely come back here this afternoon to see how she's doing and if anything interesting might be happening. But it's also important during this process that we give her the space that she needs in order to have the cubs. So if we do come out, we'll just check. But we won't stick around too long if she looks like she's in need of her space. I wonder where the other Inkahumas are at the moment. I just want to call on the radio and let everyone know that I'm here. One station on lock with the Lioness, just west of Buffelshoek Dam. So I've just let everyone know that we are here so that they may come through. Paige in Tennessee, thank you so much for that information. It really makes a difference. So she is the youngest of the Umkohumas and she is pregnant. So these are things I didn't know. So she's not the youngest, she's one of the younger ones. And so it's the first time I'm meeting her. So she is pregnant. And this could very, very well be her coming to a point where she is now going to have her cubs. So just like those hyenas that we were with yesterday, we'll learn a little bit more about these lionesses. Durant is saying that we're like a 60s band or something like that. And that we are the spotting team. So we've had a good morning of spotting lionesses and cheetah. It's so funny, I think the first moment that Dave saw the cheetah, I think he thought it was a lion, when really it was cheetah. So we've had a fantastic morning as usual, and we will be seeing you for the afternoon safari, the sunset safari. We'll come back here to see how this lady is doing. Also, with the highness, I just want to say thank you for all that information you gave me yesterday. On Facebook, I'll be using my page, Rewild, and not my profile. With that, let's have a beautiful day, and we shall see you later.